Welcome back into Tony Talking Trash About Music. Today we're going to run down the short discography of that duo of whether it is, how much of it is prefab and how much of it is generic and how much of it is manipulative and how many different feelings everybody has about it. Yes, I'm talking about the great Jack White and Meg White and the White Stripes. The White Stripes, began, I guess, formed as a duo in 1997. Jack White, as you know, had a history of drummer with Goober and the Peas in Detroit and had played with some other bands. Meg decided, after they got married, obviously, or early on, but Meg decided to play drums. And that's what you really have. You really have this concept here where there's this obvious amateurish but powerful, raw feeling drummer and a very reactive and driving guitar player, Jack White. And as you guys are familiar with the discography, I have a select few of these on vinyl. I don't have as many as I probably should. These are, again, in my mind, released during the CD age. You're talking about, when you're talking about their discography. The discography really starts in 1999. Moves with a private label and moves forward, and you got to give it to Jack as far as his business. I mean, he's smart about things. He jumped on vinyl during the vinyl resurgence. Hopefully didn't take too much of a bath on it, but he made a boatload of money in the White Stripes. All indications are that all contracts were very favorable to him, and I think that's very important. A lot of the artists eschew that whole notion of well, I got to get the very best deal, but it makes a hell of a lot of difference, especially if you're smart about what you're investing in. And I will tell you personally, before we get started in this thing, I did visit Third Man Records down in Nashville, and I kind of got a weird feeling about it. I mean, a little bit of it was like, this is Jack's playland and a bunch of sycophants working for him. And it seemed to me to be, I mean, it was like, this is good music because Jack says it is, type of thing, and this is who we're going to put on the Third Man Records as the live things. And they put out some great things, and I'm not critical of him. I think some of the early stuff, especially that special record with the hologram angel in the center, Lazarus or whatever it's called. That I love that one. That one's good. But a lot of it. A lot of it anymore, I've kind of exhausted through. I have a couple little bit of his solo things, and of course Meg faded without a trace. But if you look at the impact of them, they really loosened up the whole thing about having a bass player. I know they weren't the first to do it, but they brought it to prominence. Black Keys running kind of with them and kind of doing the same duo thing, and it's interesting because I kind of remember, I think anybody growing up, I grew up as a drummer, and I think you always kind of need somebody to do that with. And I think if I had a friend named Mike Sanders, his name was Mitch, that played around here and played around town and was, really big in some of the stuff that's, been lauded as important stuff here in Kaiser. I played with him very early on. And we kind of liked that. We were learning playing. We just kind of, he'd pick his guitar up and we just started just kind of play against each other for like an hour, and you start to develop feel and you start to see what works and what doesn't work and stuff. And where you're good and where you're shitty, because you're going to play in both and make all your mistakes and get them out of the way. But something about that and it reminds you of that, and the fact that Meg is in the infancy or more of a primal player than what Jack is, and Jack is a blues enthusiast. Hats off to what they've done with the Paramount Records and the reissue of the Blind Willie McTell and the Charlie Patton and things like that. It's fantastic. It's a great achievement, and it probably cost him money. Probably, if you look at the whole way that it pans out, it probably cost him money. Now, hopefully, he's smart with the licensing, and hopefully, he is, but hopefully, he's going to end up doing okay with that. But anyway, we're going to run down here. What I have is 6 studio records here. We've got some other live records, of course, and some compilations. Let me see if I have that here. I have that here somewhere. Yeah, I got like the John Peel, the BBC sessions. I see, it's funny, I don't have all the regular records, but I got these things. I love John Peel too, because he's been connected with the Fall and stuff. But this is pretty nice. I'm going to probably listen for this again later. I'm going to keep this out. But then I got the greatest hits here, of course. And then I told you about this Lazaretto, and this is the limited edition one with the backwards of the dual start thing. It's the record's got all the tricks going on, huh? Other than blood in the in the groove, I guess it's got it all out. But I mean, my God, it had to be so expensive to produce. Boarding House Reach, then I have also, which I find okay. I find not bad. But anyway, that's my Jack stuff. Well, you're talking about these guys, and when you're talking about this band, you're really talking about uh, six records, and the six records that they have began in 1999. For my, let me see where I am with this. I think I'm ready to go. My number six is going to be 2005's Get Behind Me, Satan. Now, this record was released 2005. The songs are put out for it's relatively brief, and I guess for the age, most of the records are 44 minutes long. Blue Orchid was the big first one to put out. My Doorbell, the Nile Twist. Really, not a lot more of well known songs from this. Um, it's a little bit more experimental than the ones before it. It's it sounds like what Jack White introduces, a purging of everything and starting over. That to me is an interesting thing here. But when you look at what you have here, it's not there's not a lot of guitar, and Elephant was there. This is really a piano or more mellow direction, and to me it doesn't fit in it because it leans too much on the quality of the songs, and to me the type of presentation it is does not lend itself to the strong suit or the blues based suit of Jack's music, and especially of what Meg is doing at this point. Do I think it's an okay record? Yeah, I'd still give it. I don't think they made a bad record. I'd still give it 3.5 stars. But I don't think "Get Behind Me, Satan" is anything great, and that is my. It was to me. It was a big disappointment. I had it on CD. I should have brought the CDs here too, but didn't. So Joe, can you put that up there? You already did though. "Get Behind Me, Satan" was from 2005. That would be the next to the last one. The next number that I have is going to be number from 2003. The record before that is Elephant. And I know, oh my God, here I am, Seven Nation Army attacking that. I understand it was a breakthrough. I understand that it was something that had lifted them up, and her version of don't know what Brett Bacharach, don't know what to do with myself. And it all went all the way up to number six. It was one of their most important ones, and also was that the hardest button also was a single off of it, right? So I mean, this was it was a critically acclaimed record, but how it sits to me and how important it is with me, to me, there's some of me that saw that it was that the top ranking of it, really, I mean, the critics raved, and I just don't think it's as great as their best stuff. Am I being a snob? Maybe I am. I just don't. I'm not. It's in all kind of lists. The best albums of the decade. It's in some of these greatest albums of all time. I mean, it's clearly put at as their number one record. I would not put it as their number one record. I would put it as their number five record. And at number four, I am going to go with the original record here from 1999 with Jimmy the Exploder. I'm going to go with number four, The White Stripes. This is when it all started, but if you look at it, you can tell right away that this is an album that was made and a gimmick that was kind of put out. The way they dress, everything. I mean, you have to give it to them. And this is the difference between a lot of bands wonder, well, why are bands what does packaging matter? I mean, look at this. Look at the packaging here from the very beginning. This is how it started. But let's talk about the music. Jimmy the Exploder, the version of Stop Breaking Down, I think is better than the Rolling Stones. Big Three, Killed My Baby, super. This is raw. Slicker Drips. This is a raw record. St. James Infirmary, of course, is the big one that you hear. I thought Piranha is kind of silly, but there's some of the stuff that is silly with them. But where do you put it? I really consider everything from here on in pretty damn good. I would make this a strong 3.5 star record. It's really bordering on 4, and that is where I would go with it. We have exactly what do we got? 3 records left. At number 3, I'm going to go with the last one that went out, and it kind of bummed me out because I thought it was a little more adventurous in the style of what they were doing. Even though it sounded a little more frustrating, and you can even look at the pictures that I'm talking about, Sweet Old Icky Thump. And I remember hearing the single. When I heard the single, I'm like, you got to be, with that guitar, you got to be joking me. I couldn't believe they actually put that out. But I love Rag and Bone. I love St. Andrew, Prickly Thorn, Sweetly Worn Gray. 300 mile per hour torrential's good too. You just do as you're told. I mean, I like the beginning, Catch Hell Blues. Yeah, I think this is a strong way to go out. I know they did another record after this, but you can kind of see the writing on the wall with this. This is if you can look at the pictures, it's not as together. You can tell there, even the back. It's a kind of a bittersweet look on Meg's face, really. And that's kind of the feeling that you get in retrospect, listening to some of these songs. But at the time, nobody knew. Everybody knew it was, they were stretching. But what's admirable about this? They knew it was wearing thin. They did Get Me Behind Me Satan, which had been experimental and had been piano driven and it kind of gone down. They were trying to capture a little bit back of it, but there was a whole lot of effort with this. And that's I like the attitude on this record a lot. And that's why I'm going to put this at Icky Thump at number 3 for me. At number 2, I'm going to go, of course, with the big breakthrough. I consider the breakthrough, and everybody else is saying Elephant. And I guess if you're talking pop charts, you're talking whatever. But I'm considering this move to White Blood Cells. This on the recorded 2001. Fell in love with the girl. Hotel Yorba. Dead Leaves in the Dirty Ground. I mean, this was the one. This is the one that got everybody's attention in the circles that I ran in. This is the one where you're like, oh shit, they can really make serious music with this. Because in even the record before, and you're going to see it's obvious what's my number 1 now, and as inconsistent as that is with what I'm going to say now, it could have gone either way on the record before this, and a lot of people, including myself, were very, very happy that after they stilled that this is the direction that it went. I was less happy with even though the pop success with Elephant because it got slicker, it got bigger. This is on Sympathy for the record industry label. This is exactly the same label that they had this, but things had been building. And Jack was king of Detroit now at this time, but fell in love with the girl. Really, really packed it in, and it's amazing. There's no bass on that. You hear it, and you don't really miss it, and it's really in your face, and it's really loud, and it's amazing that just not it. But to me, this is where, even though I rank, and you'll find out soon that the ranking may not reflect this completely. This is where I think they, in my mind, peaked as far as what the energy and far as what happened. But I did admire later the comeback in Iggy Thump. I think it was better than Get Behind Me, Satan. Get Behind Me, Satan at times, Get Thee Behind Me, Satan, kind of mirrored into you didn't know where it was going to go from there because it was such a deviation from the pop hit. There was a natural reaction against it, kind of the same way that Nirvana happened, but maybe in a less chaotic and a less drug induced way. Since I understand Jack is straight edge and kind of hard to believe, isn't it? That there's still a person around to today. But yeah, I have a friend of mine though. One of my best friends is still teetotal and has been on forever, and that's admirable. That's called discipline. It's called self discipline. Kind of the opposite of human nature, as I've understood from other people, but at least in my office and stuff too. But anyway, man, that is my number 2. Is the great White Blood Cells. I love I love the whole tracks on it. I love Little Room. I'm a fan of. I think I Smell a Rat is kind of silly, but every time I hear it, I laugh. It's because of how it is. This Protector is great, and Now Mary. This whole we're going to be friends. And they issued another version of that, as I understand, at the end when everything ended. And they also put the Jolene, her version of Jolene, on there. It was so prominent live, but it's on the Japanese versions along with Handsprings. Yeah, I think this is to me, this is the one over Elephant, even though the critics would probably put them in the other direction. I like Elephant fine. I just don't. They just made a lot of really good records. And then we're going to end up here with the final one. It's my number one. This is the one that got my attention. And I guess it's just because of one that it hit me. Did I see him live during this? No, I never saw him live actually in a place. I had an opportunity to go one time, and I had some kind of other things that it did it. And I remember it fell through, and I was pissed because then by that time I couldn't get tickets. It was sold out. Anyway, side one of this. You're pretty good looking for a girl. Hello, operator. Dang, 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 dang. That's really tight. Little bird. I'm bound to pack it up. Death letter. Oh my God. Da, 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 da. The girl you love is dead. Wild up this morning. What do you think it read? Ding, ding, ding. That's just, sister, do you know my name? You know, why can't you be nicer? Let's build a home. A boy's best friend. Jumble, jumble. Truth doesn't make a noise. This is it, man. This is the one. This is the one I think that hit me the hardest. I loved especially the first side. I admit that the second side is a little bit less than it is, and I don't think they have a 5-star record. This is a 4.5-star record, as is the other two preceding this, and in my view. But you know, your Southern Can is Mine is great. Let's Build a Home's great. Boy's Best Friend. Truth that doesn't make a noise. Jumble jumble and Why Can't You Be Nicer to Me? I'm not too crazy about, but other than that, but the whole first side, Apple Blossom, Pack It Up, Death Letter, Sister, Hello Operator. I mean, my God, this is just one after the next, and it hits so hard. Just his guitar sound too. It's weird. It's almost like he like Neil Young loaned him his rig during the not Ragged Glory tour, but the tour where he did before when he had Crazy Horse with David Geffen, Life in that Landing on Water. I remember he had some tours where he had some wild ass sounds, gurgly like low, muffled, not real bright sounds, and he's got a couple on here that just blow you away, man. The older I get, it's funny, the more honed in I am on that. Like the other day, I was listening to Sopwith Camel's record on Reprise. What a great bass sound on that fuzzone, that regular song. But anyway, that being aside, what am I doing talking about that? This is about the White Stripes. This is my number one, guys. Why don't you guys leave your list down below? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you like or don't like about the White Stripes. Really, generally, I don't know that I was too. I think I always saw it with a little bit of a jaded eye that you know, they're playing me some here with these mints that they're giving out and the thing. I just never that aspect to it. I try to, when I listen to music, I always found it important to blanch all the non-musical appeals out of it. Like I was never one that fell for a girl, or you know, if I heard somebody singing with breath, I'm like, okay, I don't want that. I don't want to hear any more of that. I just don't. I don't want to be played for that. So, but anyway, that is what I like. And being a White Stripes fan, I'm always looking forward to what Jack White does. But at the same time, I wouldn't consider myself somebody that has, you know, a complete third man collection. You've seen what I got, and I have a couple third man other things. So I've got a record from the Lumineers, and I got a third man box up here that's got some stuff, a limited edition vault box, but I just got that in the trade for a reasonable point. But anyway, that's what's going on, man. And so I appreciate you guys tuning in. And that's what I got with the White Stripes. Have any thoughts? Leave it there. We always appreciate you guys coming in here. Smash the like button. I should have told you that from the beginning, shouldn't I? Shit, I forgot to. But anyway, just remind me next time if somebody sees me to do that. You have any questions about what we did, or have any comments what we did, or you have your own opinion here what I did. If you think I was too harsh on Elephant, let me know. I'm not down on Elephant as much as I am prefer the other records to it because like when it hit, I remember even though it being real big, I kind of backed off of it some because I'm like, well, I hate to say, okay, I'll admit it to you. It was kind of like it was my little pet, and now it's made its way onto the world. You're kind of like, eh. That's why people love cult bands. That's why they like to hold on to their self as soon as they sell some records, they're selling out. I don't know wherever that lies on you guys. Anyway, love having you here, man. Love talking to you. You guys take care, and I will see you next time with something fun.